Alright, so on this worksheet here, we're going to do B through D, and this is going to be some basic limits. So we're going to take a look at the first one. If you plug in 0 here, you're going to get, so we're going to square root of 5 plus x minus square root of 5, so that's going to be square root of 5 minus square root of 5, 0, and you get a 0 on the bottom because it's just x. So we need to do, the best way to do this is going to be multiply by the conjugate of it. So when you see this square root 5, when you get some square roots with a minus, multiply by the opposite of it. So once again, square root 5 plus x plus square root of 5. So we multiply the top and bottom by that. Make sure you do top and bottom. So you multiply by 1 essentially. I would go ahead and leave what's happening on the bottom here. Don't worry about multiplying it through so much. What you're going to find on the top here is going to be the square roots there, so it's going to be 5 plus x. And then you're going to get this minus, plus minus term, so those are going to go away, and then the end part is going to be minus 5. And all that's going to be over x times that conjugate, so 5 plus x plus the square root of 5. So now that we have all that, we're going to take a look at the top here. We see a 5 and a minus 5, so we can cancel those, which leaves us with an x over an x. We need to get rid of those x's, otherwise this bottom is going to be 0 again. So what we're left with is the limit as x goes to 0. On the top here, we got 1, and on the bottom we're going to have square root of 5 plus x plus the square root of 5. Okay, so come down here. What happens when we plug in the 0? We're going to get square root of 5 plus square root of 5, so that's 2 square root of 5. So you get 1 over 2 square root of 5. If you want to take it one step further, you're just going to multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 5 in order to rationalize it. So you're going to get square root of 5 on top. And square root of 5 times square root of 5 is 5, so you get 10 on the bottom. So either answer is good there. Alright, so now we'll move on to C here. This one's going to be limit as x goes to 2 of x squared minus 4 over x squared plus x minus 6. So we look at it real quick. If we plug in the 2, we get a 0 on top. We're going to get a 0 on the bottom, so we know something's going on here. The best way to do this is probably just factor out. So the top can go to x minus 2 and x plus 2. And on the bottom, we're hoping to either get an x minus 2 or an x plus 2, so that those can kind of cancel out. So if we look down here, we're going to get a minus 6 for the coefficient without the variable on it. So we know we're going to have some x plus or minus something and some x plus or minus something. So we have a minus 6. We know one of these needs to be a plus, one of them needs to be a minus. Since our middle term is a plus, that means we want the bigger term to be the plus. So we're going to go plus 3 minus 2. You can check that real quick. X squared minus 2x plus 3x gives you a plus x. And then 3 times negative 2 is going to be negative 6. So now we see that the x minus 2's cancel, which is good because when we plug in 2, that's what gives us 0. So now we can go the limit as x goes to 2. We're left with x plus 2 over x plus 3. Just plug in the 2. What do you get there? You get 4 on the top, 5 on the bottom. 4/5. And finally, we'll take a look at D down here. X goes to negative 1 for x squared minus 1 over x squared minus x. So if we plug in at the top here, negative 1 squared is going to be 1. 1 minus 1 is going to give us 0. So we get 0 on top. But on the bottom, we're going to get negative 1 squared, which is 1. And then we're going to subtract a negative 1, which is the same as adding 1. So we got 1 plus 1. So this is actually going to be 0 over 2, which is just 0. So always make sure you plug in first in order to see if you can just get away with plugging it in and just getting the answer there. And remember, 0 on top, that's okay, that's just 0. So that's how you're going to do those 3 there, B through D.